I roll at. I'm like, this nigga got it, yo.
So we're here at Licorice Pizza. We have hip-hop nobility in the house. Reggie Noble, Redman. You were at the Hollywood Bowl last night.
Right.
And now you're at another almost equally iconic LA location.
Yeah.
Licorice Pizza. How was the bowl last night?
The Hollywood Bowl, performing at the Roots Picnic School of 95 was lit. It was got to see some old friends. Got the vibe. My sister live out here, so she brought some of the family, some friends. So I was able to have fun on stage, body the mic and the audience with my brother Method Man, and then hang with my family. So it was an amazing vibe. It actually felt like Cali in the 90s and early 2000s. Remember how California was in the 90s and early 2000s? It was fun. Now it's more a little political, a little bit, but it had that early 90s vibe last night. So
would you consider the 90s the golden age of hip-hop? A lot of people do. Actually, one of the songs on Muddy Waters 2, which you're here signing today, Don't You Miss, is kind of all about like how the 90s was such a great time.
Right, you know your shit, huh? She know her shit.
It's a great record.
Right.
People have been waiting for this record for a while.
Right. Yes, I would definitely compare it to that. The nostalgic of it, the fabric of that song, if you will. Don't You Miss. Matter of fact, the whole album is, 90s feel, 90s blanket, if you will, as far as the beats, the rhymes, the sequence as well. Yes, I can compare it to last night because, Roots is from the 90s, Little Kim, Bone Thugs and Harmony, my brother Raekwon. Am I missing someone up there?
It was pretty stacked, Bill.
Yeah, it was, and people enjoyed it. You could tell that 90s was one of the most, and I say this on stage too, is one of the most pivotal eras for hip hop. Like 80s was dope. Even 70s, at the end of the 70s was dope with Grandmaster Flash. Bringing in Run DMC in the top of the 80s, but 90s kind of elevated it and made it more universal language.
It's kind of the era where people stopped, not that I ever thought this, but a lot of people thought rapping hip hop was a fad.
Right.
It wasn't real music. And 90s is kind of when people realized, actually, no, this is like the dominant pop cultural force.
Absolutely. And it actually started where they didn't think rap was a fad when Rakim and Big Daddy Kane and Biz Markie and Salt and Pepper and EPMD, and when they came out, they was like, okay, this is serious. This is a culture. This is an element. This is a real genre of music now, a cornerstone of music. So when we came out, we more like elevated it and made it more universal for people to understand each other culture-wise. Like, for example, I say it in the sense of, if I go to Asia, like especially in the 90s, if you went to Asia, they didn't know the words. They just knew certain words, but they understood the body language and the motion and the feeling of it. So that's why they were so attracted to it. They couldn't actually sing word for word, but they felt the emotion and the body language of it. So yeah, I'm glad to be a part of the 90s era.
And we're glad to have you. The album, as I mentioned, Muddy Waters 2, which you were signing today.
Right.
It wasn't quite the 90s, but you were promising this record like around 2013, I think is when people have been waiting like 15 years for this record or something.
Actually, earlier than that.
Okay.
I've been talking about Muddy Waters 2 since like 2008, 7. And believe me, I had the record done, but I was just going through so much personal things with myself that I wasn't ready. Like, if I would have released this album back at the time I said and pronounced I was dropping the album, it wouldn't have had this much effect of me dropping it now. Like, some of the songs on that album is 10 years old.
I mean, there's one song, What's Hot, where you say you're almost 50, I believe you say.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
now
Exactly.
54.
Yeah, I'm 50. Yeah, I actually turned 55 in April. So
Happy
yeah,
birthday.
so thank you. Aries in the house, Aries. Yeah, I actually did that song right before I turned 50, like 48. 48 years old. And songs like Pop the Trunk, like that song I did like in 2005, something like that. But I'm the kind of guy that it's a process to my madness, if you will. And that goes from how I uh do the record, how I put lyrics on the beat, how I EQ the record, also how I sequence the record, which is very important for artists to know. Young or old, you can have a gang of dope songs, but if you don't know how to sequence them right for an album, they'll just get lost and people will say, that album was all right. So I know how to sequence, and the madness to that is actually having songs that you can pull up like, yo, I'm using this song that I did 7 years ago. It still stands the test of time. So that's what this album is about.
I mean, it's ambitious and it's a lost art, the sequencing, when we're talking we're talking about the 90s and stuff. Now, to put a record, I think it's 88 minutes long. It's an hour and a half long. It's 32 tracks, and we live in this streaming era. Obviously, this is a double LP pressed on Licorice Pizza vinyl. But a lot of people don't listen to whole albums, especially long albums like that. So you had to, obviously, I mean, it's a testament to your talent that like this people are listening to the whole thing and wanting to buy it on double vinyl. But like, what are your thoughts about the fact that people don't really listen to albums the way they used to?
They don't. They don't listen to out because of the streaming platforms, the outlets that we have now. You know, back in our day, we had like just, physical copies. Now you get an opportunity to choose. Like I can skip from 1 and go to 32 if I want, just like that, right? And you could do that on a CD too, but it's more in tune with you on your phone. And that's where all the music is mostly played from your phone. I thought about doing, believe me, I wanted to make the album like no more than 19 songs. But speaking to my boy Rockwaller and watching, what's the pop chick name? No, it was her too. I forgot her name, sorry. But Chris Brown as well. He had like 40 songs on one of his albums. And I was like, damn.
You think about Taylor Swift with her?
Yes, Taylor Swift.
With the Tortured Poets Department.
She works. Yo, she works.
She did.
She works. Like, she would make an album and then make another album of the same songs remixed. Like, she works. I admire her team. I admire Chris Brown and his team for doing all these songs. And I was like, can I do that in hip hop? And my boy Rockwaller, shout out to my boy Rockwaller, who is one of the like main producers of the album. He produced most of the joints on there, but he's also like an A&R on it as well. And he said, yo, bro, we in the streaming age. You can put how many songs you want. Don't be afraid. So he pushed me to that. And after watching Taylor Swift work and Chris Brown work, like them two right there gave me that confidence to put that many songs in there. And it was able to work because of how I sequenced it. What I got a lot on the comments I got on Muddy Waters too, not only was it a dope album, dope beats, dope rhymes and shit, but a lot of people said in my comments like, yo, I can't believe that the album is an hour and maybe 20 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. I can't believe it's that long, and when you play it, it don't feel like it. That's because of the sequence. That's how important sequencing is.
So Muddy Waters, the first one, came out, going back to the 90s, came out in 96, I believe.
Yeah, 96, 97.
Was it always a plan to do a sequel? Maybe it wouldn't be this much late, this much time wouldn't elapse. Was there always two parts in your mind?
No, that's a good question. She's fucking good. She's very fucking good. She's fucking very
clip
good.
The party.
I'm sorry for
no,
cursing.
Clip it like to have as like.
Oh, okay, cool.
On my Instagram.
She's very fucking good. No, actually, no, it wasn't a plan to do it. After I did, Docs the Name, I was like, I'm doing a Muddy Waters too, because after Docs the Name, the music and the fabric of the music started changing. And then I dropped Malpractice, the album, which still went. I had dope songs, a hot single on there as well. But I was doing How High, the movie around that time. I got into movies. So my focus wasn't really too much on music like it was before the previous albums. So after Doc's the Name, I was like, I got to do a Muddy Waters 2. And then when the music like completely switched around far as the sound and the style of it, I was like, I got to do a Muddy Waters 2 to bring that 90s feel back. And what better time? Like I dropped the album before Christmas.
Christmas Eve, I think, right?
Yes.
It's like a present to your fans.
That's unheard of. We all know that if you're in the music industry, we all know there are 4 quarters in the music industry. There's like from January to maybe March, and then it's from March to like maybe August, and then August to like maybe October, then October to December or something like that.
The end of what they call Q4.
Right. And we consider the industry shut down around December 18th or 19th. That's when all the record execs go on vacation, do the family time, and they don't open back up to January 8th. So my team was like, because I'm independent and I dropped it on my own label, Gilla House Records. Shout out to Gilla House, my team. Shout out to Riverton Entertainment. Shout out to Groundwork that distributed it. We had to make a decision. Like, yo, listen, if we drop this album after December 18th, if something goes wrong on something we don't like, we can't call people to go back to the plant, repress, or to set it up for streaming. So I had to make sure I dot my I's, cross my T's. And we dropped the album on December 24th. That is unheard of. But now I think I opened the door. I think I cracked a code. Like, hey, why not drop it when people are at their homes and with the family and holidays and stuff?
You probably did mess up a lot of critics' year-end lists. They'd already turned them in, best albums of 2024. And they're like, damn it, I got to put Muddy Waters 2 on there now.
You know what? That is a good question. I mean, I never thought about that. Only thing I was thinking about was I want that independent Grammy. Like I've been praying for it and I'm going to get it. I'm saying it here on Licorice Pizza. I'm going to get an independent Grammy. I've been praying on it and I got faith more than the mustard seed, about big as a mustard seed. They say that in the Bible. You got faith big as a mustard seed, you can make things happen. I'm going to get an independent Grammy. I was thinking I could get it for this year, but where the Grammy works, it's the year after. So
it's from like September to September.
Right, September to September, and then it's after October. So now I'll be in 2025 or 26, where they're introduced to 25.
Have you ever won a Grammy before?
Absolutely not.
No.
No, I've been nominated.
What were you nominated for?
I was nominated for the Beanie Man album, me and Rockwalla. And the
Christina Aguilera song?
I don't think it was nominated. Okay. Even though that song still brings me money and checks.
I was about to say.
Yes, it still bring me checks like a motherfucker.
It was iconic. You're in the video as well.
Oh yeah. Christina's the best. We just performed in Vegas too. It was for De La Soul. The song Ooh. They did a song Ooh. So that got nominated for a Grammy. So yeah. But I'm going to win that independent Grammy.
That would be awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, I think I could see that. That's going to happen.
Me too. Yeah, why not? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, hell yeah.
So you mentioned that this record, took so long, that Muddy Waters took a while to come out because you were going through some stuff. And it seems like you've made a lot of positive changes in your life. You've talked about it, like with your health and stuff. Can you tell me a little bit about?
Okay. The changes in my life, like, first of all, I had 3 words I abide by. And I say this a lot to people and in the interviews too. And I say it in a lot of my interviews because I want people to really get the picture and start learning about self-love and self-awareness and self-healing. It is the best thing that we can do as an individual. I always say you want to help change the world, but you have to change yourself first to help change the world. And like during that time I mentioned, like I'm dropping the album Muddy Waters 2 back in the day, I wasn't ready. And I was loose. I was running all over the place. I was in shit relationships. I was giving energy to things I shouldn't have done. And it wasn't until I went celibate for a couple of years and a half and stopped smoking for a couple of years and a half. And I call it cutting out the distraction for a better reception. Um, and it wasn't until then where I started to notice, hey, I have to be accountable. I have to be transparent and I have to be vulnerable. I say these three words in every interview because I want everyone to get the picture. Like, learn these words, abide by it, add it in your arsenal of life. Walking with accountability, vulnerability, and transparency. Um, Now, like the way I move, I'm not even going back to smoking. It's been like 2 years and a half. Then I went back smoking like last year, and I was smoking little pin joints, 4 hitter quitters. But even now, even then, I was just like, I don't even need it if I'm only doing 2 hitter quitters. So I stopped in January again, and I'm not going back. That played a major role of who I am now, as besides the mind and body. Strong mind, strong body, strong mind. Um, it the biggest thing that we're missing today with people of all culture, no matter if you're white, black, brown, green, alien green, there's a lot of accountability missing with people uh actually saying, you know what, that was my fault. Or even saying, I don't know how. And you can't blame a lot of people because of the social media and what it teaches you. And it teaches you self-love. They like the social media is teaching you self-love the wrong way. And it's not until I realized that and said, I have to see someone. I have to see a shadow worker. Anybody might know what that is. Do your knowledge, go do your research on what a shadow worker is. But it wasn't until I started seeing my shadow worker roles and, actually working with myself and stop doing this. I stopped doing this and I started doing this. That's what the world is right now. This, you, this, that. And it wasn't until I started doing this, I was like, fuck. And I started doing this and more this. I see the world different now. And it plays a part in your music. It plays a part of how you living. It plays a part of how you're communicating with your spouse, with your loved ones, with your kids, with your friends. It really do justice to those areas. So I'm not going to stretch it because I could go on all day about it and rules and regulations and shit I've learned. But just learn those three words: vulnerability, transparency, and accountability. Look them up if you don't know it. And then when you do, add them to your arsenal.
How did that affect the lyrics on Muddy Waters 2? Anything that you've written relatively recently?
Right. Put it this way. I'm 55 years old, right? I can't talk about shit I did in 97 and talk about young dumb shit. I had to have something to feed the people. Like, we're at this age, you're feeding. Like back then, you was feeding the people, but you was feeding at a level of, look, I'm young, I'm fragrant, I'm vibrant, I'm having fun, I'm smoking, I got bitches, I got bud all around, I got the hot cars. It's levels to this shit. Once you get older, you find out that you have more responsibility. And my responsibility is to not just feed myself, but I have to feed my people, and I have to feed their soul and their spirit. And I had to share my journey because there's no testimony without a test. You got to have a test to have a testimony. And we all know, like I always say, and other people say it as well, there's healing in communion. There's healing in conversation. We are put on this earth to conversate with each other, to help heal each other from our journeys and what we go through and what we went through. So, yeah, I just couldn't talk shit on this album. I had to share my journey, which is self-healing, but in a cool way where it's not preachy, like you should do this and you should do that. I'll be the first one to say, you know what? Yeah, I was a big fuck up. Yeah, I was fucking everything. I was wilding, I was drinking. But look at me now. And sometimes we need to go through that storm to see the better person in us.
Are there specific tracks on Muddy Waters 2 that you want to mention that are like especially deep into what you're saying?
Yeah, like the song Like the song, like one of my favorite songs of off the Muddy Waters 2 album is Ghetto Motivation. And I start off like haters hoping I flop, losing all of my guap, my money. Um, understand that I'm a lion. I'm supposed to take what you got. And then you say to your ops, I'm a big dog, nigga, watch. You talk dirty, then the janitor starts sliding in with the mop. Um, pedestrians looking like, wow. Like The Rock, I raised my eyebrow. Chicks ain't fuck with me when I was broke. So, oh no, don't look now. Warrior, the way I riff. It feels like, I feel like everybody hate Chris. Surgical with my freedom of speech. You listening, you might get a facelift. Look, I'm an example of what trapping earn. Under table money, tax return. Cut the cake and split it with the wolves. Jealous niggas, they collapse and burn. Selfish with it, you become the fool. Vulnerable, now women love the dude. One of the greatest writers like I'm Ye. You feeling different? Who the fuck are you? Carbon fiber on the whip. This a movie, baby, get a clip. This new world order ain't shit, and I'm not implanted with a chip. See, I'm talking now. I'm talking in a cool, firm. I'm talking in a cool mode where I'm rapping, but I don't sound like I'm preaching. I'm just giving off the knowledge that I know.
That was awesome, by the way.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. This is kind of relatively uncharted territory because, like, the rappers that came up in the 80s and the 90s and the fans that came up with them. I mean, are you feeling like ageism in hip hop is less of a thing? Yeah, I used to feel like there was a lot of ageism in hip hop. Like, if a rapper was like 30, people thought that was old.
Yeah. Well, then here's the thing: rock and roll don't have an age limit. Rock and roll. And I say that in a sense where rock and rollers that came out even in the 80s, they're still on tour, rocking.
In the 60s, Rolling Stones.
Yes,
whatever.
still on tour.
Mhm.
They're not considered old school, they considered legends. Why can't we? You know, we're considered legends, we're not old school. Now, in today's music, it does has a age limit, especially with AI. Like, if you ain't came out with an album before AI started, a lot of new artists are doomed. Like, because producers are creating their own artists on AI, not even dealing with the attitude and the emotions of a real person. Um, like for example, like new music that came out between 2015 and now, like after 7 or 8 years, they're calling you an OG. They're calling you, look at the OG, what's good, what's good with the OG? Like he's been, and the music too. Like I heard, what song was that? It was a while ago. I heard a song that just came out 2 years ago, or a year, yeah, 2 years ago, the tops. And I heard it on the radio. They said, yeah, we're going to take it back old school to this. And it was a new song that just came out a year and a half ago, too. And I was like, are you serious? They're labeling y'all that quick as old school? So, yeah, it's bad in a sense, but that's the new wave.
But do you think it's changing now that, like, you and your peers are, still making music that's still so valid and holds up with the classic discography? I feel like it's changed. I mean, look, I bet there was a huge turnout at the Bowl last night.
Oh,
It wasn't
lit.
just people who were Gen X age or whatever.
It was lit. She's fucking good. She's fucking good. Here's the thing. When we came out in the 90s, was people complaining about 90s artists? Yes, they complained. Couple of old school, old legends, if you will, artists was like, who are these guys that coming out in the 90s smoking blunts with their hair all wild and sagging their pants and this and that? Yeah, we got it. But what we did for the culture of hip hop, we elevated that shit till we gained fans. Some of the new era. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of young guys out the new era that is doing great music like Kendrick, J. Cole. I can name them Gold Link. They're doing great music. They're doing good music that stand the test of time. But it's not in the masses like we were. Feel me? So when people when the new era is not in the masses of putting out that quality music, it gets kind of stamped as okay, they're not they're not putting out the music that we want to hear. And it's a lot of older cats that say it. But then again, I got a lot of younger cats that come up to me that say, yo, Redman, I'll be like, how old are you? He'd be like, I'm 22 years old. I'll be like, you know me? They'd be like, what? They'd be like, yo, that's only people, you guys are the only ones we listen to. I'd be, excuse me. And I'll be like, I would expect you guys to be tuned into the new music. They'd be like, yeah, a couple of people, but most of that young that most of these young artists is for real young teeny boppers. Like we don't listen to all that young, murderous shit. Like we fuck with y'all, in other words. So it's I say that to refer back to the question is like our era, we elevated it, right? And because of the newer era wasn't in the masses of being listened to and considered elevating it to the next plateau, it left us jobs. It left a whole lane open because in the earlier 2000s, it was kind of, oh shit, all right, shit slowed down for us. Now, oh, we're running shit. We back to running shit. Big facts. We are back to running shit. We know the new era got their lane. But we opened up our lane again. We opened up the floodgates again. We're packing shows. We're packing stadiums. We're back on our job like it's almost like the 90s because of some of the era not elevating it in the masses, if you will, if I made myself understood.
I understand. BET said, I read an article, they said that 2025 was the year of Redman. I don't know if you saw that.
Right, I heard of that.
The year's about half over. What else do you have planned for 2025? We'll see you at the Grammys next year.
Right, exactly.
February 26th.
See y'all at the Grammy. I'm getting that independent Grammy. You know what is for this year, and I appreciate BET for saying that. I think it's just more growth with me. Like I want to do different things. Like I want to direct. I'm working on a new album as well. And after that, I'm going into another genre of music. Like I want to do electronic music, like clubbish electronic music. And just I want to take a break from rap and just do some other things. But I guess what I could say, besides business of Redman, trying to grow it as well, I think more growth of myself is what going to stamp me as the year of the Redman. My growth of myself. I'm trying to get myself in the more presence of peace. I pray. I ask God for what I want. And most of the time when we ask our higher power, whoever you believe in, what we want, we don't get it. But God puts us in a place where we at peace about it, not getting it. Feel me? Like I used to worry about, I want to make sure I got generational wealth. I want to make like $100 million and, make sure my kids, and I'm like, you know what? I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Financially, mentally, physically, I don't need this to stamp me as generational wealth. I want to help break the generational ignorance of the world. And I think that's going to be more of my job of breaking that generational ignorance of some things that I'm still thinking because I'm still working on myself. Because your reward for overcoming adversity and an obstacle is another obstacle and adversity. It don't stop. You're never going to get to a place where you're just fully healed and like, all right, I did it. We're going to have a birthday party. So I think the year of the Redman will be more growth and me doing more speaking engagements and sharing my testimony.
I mean, yeah, do that.
And helping people. And the only way you can do that is totally being transparent with yourself.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being so transparent with me. I would end it on that note, but can I ask you two completely like random cheesy
absolutely.
questions?
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
So Method Man was on The Masked Singer as Stud Muffin.
Okay.
Did you know that he was going to be on the show?
Oh, absolutely not.
I recognized his voice right away, as did all the judges.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Would you ever go on The Masked Singer? I'm obsessed with that show.
I would.
You would?
If I only seen a couple of episodes.
He was Stud Muffin. That was his character.
Stud Muffin.
He was like a kind of like buff pastry.
Okay. I would go in there. Because I'm definitely a character. A lot of people, even he told me, bro, like, why don't you get back into acting? And a lot of people say I should act because I bring a fabric of realness and actually being funny without trying to be funny, if you will. And I want to be behind the camera more, but I will act. But honestly, it's like, I don't want to be in that world of learning lines all day, being on a set. I like skydiving. I'm in a skydive community. I like doing things outside of work and me and my girl building on things. And like, I just don't want to give my time all to work. Yes, the money will be great. Yes, it will help out more financially. But like I said, I'm fine where I'm at. But I'll think about it. And if they ever ask me, I'm going on. Just because you said it as well.
They've had quite a few. I mean, Busta Rhymes did it. Right. Flavor Flav did it. Wiz Khalifa did it. They've had some, hip hop icons
definitely do it.
And Meth did it.
I'll tell you what show I do want to go on. And I want to go on the show. Is That Cake? Is It Cake?
Is It Cake?
Yes. Y'all hear me right now. I love that show. I got to go on Is It Cake? They be having stars on there. Sorry, my phone.
They're calling you right now. They're like, hello, can you be on Is This Cake?
Yeah,
can you come to the set?
Shut this off.
That's no worries.
Hello? Is it cake? Yo, I've been just talking about you assholes. No, is it cake? I will go on that show. That's my type of flavor.
That is, and then the last cheesy question I have to ask. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about the Cribs episode. I'm sure you've talked about it forever. It's the most iconic Cribs episode ever. Anyone who talks about Cribs will talk about your episode. And if you could just in a nutshell explain how that came about. It's the best Cribs episode of all time.
As it should, because here's the thing. At the time, they were renting out houses for everyone. And I used to wonder how in the fuck everyone's house was the same, clean, refrigerated clean, no anything. It wasn't in character. And when they asked me, first thing they said, okay, you're going to do the show. Yeah, we got a house for you. And I was like, yeah, we got a house. I was like, oh. So I said, no, that's not going to be believable. I want y'all to come to my house. And it was like, okay. So their motivation was, okay, he's seen the fabric of the show, so he must have a house that's big, and yeah, he invited us to his shit. They got to my house, and they, first of all, I know when they rolled up in the neighborhood, it was like, this don't look like a house that we want to shoot is around here, first of all. Then they knocked on my door and seen that I lived in a 2-bedroom condo, and they came in, they was like, holy shit. Okay, guys, let's have a meeting.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a little meeting. And because they brought equipment, to set up and people to clean and make sure it was, they're like, let's have a meeting. Actually, we ain't going to need everyone on this set today. We just need like maybe 2 or 3 people to help. And I said, no, we don't need to. You want to tidy? No, I don't need to tidy up shit. Well, your cousin is sleeping on the floor. He's going to stay sleeping on the floor. All you got to do is get the camera and let's roll. And they said, oh, okay, Redman. I guess they had to make some calls. Like, well, he's his house is a little shitty. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it went like that, but it kind of went like that. And they said, okay. They said, look, y'all there, let's get the footage. And they said, let's go. And I took them around, showed them the house, and it was the most talked about Cribs episode ever to this day. And they still thank me to this day. Like, yo, thank you for opening our eyes, in other words.
And you kept it real, as you always do.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Do you still live there?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
You do?
Yes.
Do you like Cribs fans? Do they know where it is? Do you get like people coming to look at the house?
No, not even. Because I'm from Jersey. And a lot of people thought that it was in Jersey that I did it when it was actually in New York. But they asked, a lot of people still say, yo, your doorbell's still fucked up. I'm like, I got a Ring doorbell now, you assholes. And yes, that is still fucked up as well. My camera doorbell is fucked up still. So yeah, I get jokes about it, but they appreciate it though. They appreciate it.
And I don't remember literally any other episode of Cribs.
Me neither.
It's the only one I remember.
Me
or would ask
neither.
About.
And yeah, everybody else, it just went out the door.
There you go.
It was like I was the only one that did Cribs.
You're great. Yeah, exactly. You're great at TV, so we'll get you. You're great on camera here, by the way. Thank you so much. We are so honored that you came here. We will get you on Is This Cake somehow.
Right.
And then we'll see you on the Grammys next year.
You gotta love her. You got to fucking love her. That's the energy I need. Thank you.
We love you too. Thank you so much for coming to Licorice.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, yo, this is Redman. You already know I'm on Licorice Pizza. Come check out the show. I'm tuned in right now, baby. Let's get it. I'm like, yeah, you know I roll like. I'm like, hey, this nigga got it. Yo. I'm like, yeah, and then we smoke that.